o'clock, call the meeting to order. Manager Smith is off for several days, but he left a detailed packet with lots of information on all the agenda items. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Nordhook.
Here.
Trustee McDonald.
Here.
Supervisor Lesperance.
Here.
Treasurer Corstange.
Here.
Trustee Kessel.
Here.
Trustee Shipley.
Present.
And Clerk Slater present.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Their motion or discussion for approval of tonight's agenda?
Shipley makes motion to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
It's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee Kessel to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Having no presentations this evening, now is time for public comments on anything scheduled for tonight's agenda. That would include a proposed hotel licensing ordinance, road closures related to a YMCA youth triathlon, and a charity event. So, welcome.
Hi there, Scott Van Solkema. I'm here just to discuss the enforcement aspect of the hotel ordinance. I'm all for it. It sounds great, and I'm glad you guys that this is getting done. I'm just concerned that it says here regarding section 267-13, appropriations and enforcement. To the extent permissible by law, the township board may from time to time by resolution appropriate funds raised for police and fire services, and the township may contract with relevant agencies to enforce and implement this ordinance. Are we going to have a dedicated person to do this? I mean, in regards to, I know that Madison does zoning, and I know she has a lot of other things on her plate. The building people they have other jobs. I'm just recommending that this person doesn't have to be a full-time employee, but somebody that oversees all of this. You know, the sheriff's department, this isn't their job. That's not their bailiwick. They enforce actual crimes. Not that these aren't crimes, but these are civil ordinances that you guys are imposing for building and things of that nature. Obviously, they'll still go to crimes. That's why you guys have this, because it's been obviously lots of nuisances. But in regards to some of the reviews where the smoke detectors hanging down, or there's bed bugs or roaches and mold and things of that nature, those aren't crimes. Those are violations, but they're not crimes that the sheriff's office shouldn't oversee. And especially starting this up with the 16 hotels, how many rooms are in Cascade? Like well over 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 maybe total. Anyone know? So somebody has to go into each and every single one of those rooms when this is starting to make sure that those rooms are up to date. And if they're not good, then they need to be checked and then checked back again in a week or a month or whatever you guys decide to do. This is actually maybe not a full-time job, but a full-time part-time job, maybe like 20 hours a week. Somebody has to oversee this whole thing, and piling it on to somebody else that already has a job that they're doing a lot of work there in Township Hall, and things are turning around. It's looking great, with the parks and the roads and the parking lots and the paths and all that. But you can't just dump this on. This is a big project, and you can't just dump it onto somebody else that's already doing lots of other work. So that's just my suggestion. I just am a little leery as to enforcement, because again, what's the point of having all these ordinances and rules and laws if they're not properly enforced? So that's my only concern. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone virtually? No.
We have attendees, but no one raising their hand.
Okay. Article 6, approval of tonight's consent agenda. Motion or discussion?
Shipley makes motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
The motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee Nordhook, to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Article 7, financial actions, specifically invoices to be paid on May 5th, 2024. Is there a discussion or motion?
Motion that we approve the invoices to be paid.
May 9th.
May 9th.
Oh, what did I say?
May
It was some past date.
That's what I meant. Okay. Did
I'll
anyone
support.
second that? There's a motion by trustee Kessel, supported by treasurer Corrstage, to approve invoices to be paid on May 9th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Having no unfinished business. First new business item, 039-2024. This is the resolution to adopt the hotel licensing ordinance. As I noted at our previous meeting, the proposed hotel ordinance is meant to and will address the disproportionate use of public safety dollars, time, and resources associated with hotels in Cascade Township, as well as their negative impact on adjacent neighborhoods and businesses. For the last two meetings, or in two previous meetings, we reviewed and discussed this item in detail. And as noted, in Manager Smith's memorandum in our packet, upon approval of the proposed ordinance tonight, staff, along with legal counsel, will begin developing licensing protocols, including enforcement and monitoring responsibilities. We have tonight Attorney Laura Genovich with us from Foster Swift, our law firm, who will give us a brief overview, talk about next steps, and also answer any questions or concerns that the trustees may have.
Certainly, thank you. I'm glad to be here tonight, and I know the board is very familiar with this draft and has spent quite a bit of time with it. The resolution tonight adopts it. You'll find in your packet, obviously, some of that substantiating documentation, detailing the disproportionate public safety resources that are dedicated to these very few properties. And obviously, one of the township's main purpose in local government is to protect public health, safety, and welfare. And this is a tool to be able to do that. I did want to address the public comment, which is well taken. What 267-13 is intended to do is provide that flexibility and allow that funds that are raised for police and fire can be used for the purpose. So it creates even an additional funding opportunity, whether that is internal or external agencies that are used to enforce it. So this ordinance does not dictate how it is enforced, but creates a mechanism and a financing way to do that. So
Just real quick.
Yes.
So that specifically it was worded in such a way that allows us to properly use police.
like your millage. Yep, exactly. Yep. So if you have extra voted millage for police and fire, that can properly be used for enforcement of this ordinance. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Like I said, I know the board is very familiar with it, but I'm here at your disposal.
I think we've gone through this a lot, and thank you, Timmy, getting this kicked off probably a couple of years ago. So I moved to approve the resolution to adopt the hotel licensing ordinance.
Support. Any additional discussion?
I have just one comment. I'd like to continue the monitoring after this ordinance is adopted and in place. I'm very concerned about our residents that live on that side of the township that does not have the coverage because some of our safety people are over there. This large number of incidents. So I think that we need to continue monitoring the reduction of calls up there with this ordinance going into place. That's all I have.
And just to address Mr. Van Sokel's comments, Manager Smith will go into this in detail, and he's kind of the one who will lead this, but as of now, for an hourly rate, the Kent County Sheriff's Department has indicated that they are able and willing to handle part of the monitoring and enforcement. Our fire department already does handle the inspections as far as like fire extinguishers and all everything that falls under their umbrella. So we'll work out some specifics, but right now the plan is to use our millage dollars to contract out part of it with the Sheriff's Department. They're already over there anyways, all the time.
This
So-
also will get some money because we will be charging a fee, which we have not established yet. So it won't just be millage dollars, our tax dollars that will be doing it. The idea will be that the licensing fee will help support that enforcement with what's going on. So we're hoping to make it that it won't be as much on the millage dollars. But again, we haven't set up the fees that Mr. Smith will be doing.
But it is meant in theory, right? Like, it's reasonable to have it large enough that it covers our costs, right?
Correct. The township can charge a fee that is reasonable to defray those costs, and that includes the cost of enforcement. So that's exactly right.
And that is will be not easy to calculate, but certainly can be calculated when we're hiring out, on an hourly basis to have that done. So as long as it's a reasonable part of the ordinance, then the people who are in violation are going to be the ones covering the cost.
Right now, we're about $40,000 a hotel in services,
Bad ones are just divided by 16.
just it's not divided by 16.
I met with, we had recently.
License fee.
We met with Forest Hills Public Schools, the interim superintendent, and a couple people or leadership from there, as well as Grand Rapids Township and Ada Township leadership. And we shared the hotel ordinance. And immediately the Forest Hills superintendent and staff were happy about it because they said they have kids, they have children who the buses have to go, it depends because it rotates, but red roof parking lot, different stuff like that. So that just shows that it is being used for more than just a hotel. And given what we've seen as far as data, those owners have no business running a business where small kids are and allowed to stay there. So they were delighted that we took the initiative to pursue this ordinance.
You have
Further-
a motion and support on the floor?
Who did the
Already-
motion? Tom?
McDonald.
Trustee McDonald, supported by Wendy. That's a motion by trustee McDonald, supported by treasurer Corstage to approve the resolution to adopt the hotel licensing ordinance. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Treasurer Corrstans,
Yes.
trustee McDonald,
Yes.
trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
trustee Kessel,
Yes.
trustee Shipley,
Yes.
clerk Slater, yes. And supervisor Lesbrun.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Genovich.
Thank you.
Item 040-2024, resolution to approve the YMCA triathlon road closures. Hopefully, sorry.
So I just wanted to say before we started this, I am not only a YMCA member, I am on the board of the Merrick Bed YMCA, although it is a volunteer position. I get no money and there's no financial connection, but if somebody was uncomfortable, I would be happy to recuse myself.
As long as you stick to the right road closures. But thank you.
Mhm.
And do we have Planning Director Hendrick available remotely?
Yes, we do. Hold on. Okay.
Good evening, trustee.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
We can, thank you.
Yep, this is pretty cut and dry. I don't think there's too much necessary discussion or facts needed on it. This is going to be held on August 18th from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And we just need a resolution to be able to close the road down. It will be on Burton from Spalding to Tallgrass. Burton's the primary street that will be crossed. That's really all there is.
Great. Questions, discussion, motions?
Seems like a good opportunity for the kids, and we had this before. Tom reminded me it was for
Purple Run.
Purple Run.
The Purple Run for Parkinson's.
Yeah.
We've done this before.
And so I would make a motion that we approve the resolution for the road closures for the YMCA triathlon. Support.
It's a motion by trustee Kessel, supported by trustee Nordhook to approve the resolution to approving the YMCA triathlon road closures. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Shipley,
Yes.
trustee Kessel,
Yes.
trustee Nordhook.
Yes.
Trustee McDonald.
Yes.
Treasurer Corrstans.
Yes.
Clerk Slater, yes. Supervisor Lesbrun.
Yes. Motion carried. Item 041-2024, Resolution to approve charitable gaming. Director Hendricks or license. Are you here for this one also?
Yep. This is a nonprofit that would like to have a small raffle license. This is something that's been happening in the township since 1980, but recently the Bureau of State Lottery changed the rules, so they have to apply for and receive a small raffle license that requires that the legislative board of the municipality that's in approve it by resolution.
Is it permanent or temporary?
No, it would be from one day. So this one would be on May 25th.
Thank you.
I don't know the hours of operation, but it would just be that one day included in the resolution.
Questions, discussion, motion?
We've had this organization in the past do the raffles and there hasn't been any issues with it. Okay, that's all I have. Shipley makes a motion to approve the charitable gaming license for one day for a raffle for charitable organization at the park.
Second.
That is a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by clerk Slater, to approve the resolution regarding charitable gaming licensing. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
trustee Shipley,
Yes,
treasurer Corrstange.
Yes.
Trustee McDonald.
Yes.
Trustee Kessel,
Yes.
clerk Slater, yes. Supervisor Lesbrunz.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you, Director Hendrick. Having no discussion items, now is the time for public comment, whether the issue is on tonight's agenda or just anything in general.
Hi there, Scott Van Salcom again. Again, wanted to, today I was out walking. I walked and checked out the new park up there at I don't know what the Woodland Park thing. They're off of
The Wycliffe Park.
sure, Wycliffe Park. I don't know what it's called yet, but
Church on the Hill is.
yeah, Church on the Hill Park. And that is very nice. I saw a couple kids there playing around the noon time. I don't know what they were doing. They looked school age, but hey, maybe they homeschool, but they looked like they were having fun. It was a nice little path and the structure was very good. And I think it's a good utilization of that park. Also, while out on that walk, checked out Tassel Park and it is looking good and clean. I did notice that the bathrooms weren't open. I did send a Facebook message to the township asking when that's going to happen. But, so I do want to commend, Director Mannion with the parks, Jade Smith, the new manager, the finance manager, everyone's doing a great job and things are really doing well and a lot of neglected things are getting picked up. So I just want to say to keep up on that they're doing a great job. And again, in regards to this hotel thing, the deputies are great, but just they get called to other things. And I really think that a lot of stuff may slip through the cracks unless there's a dedicated person for this. For instance, one of the things is, checking to make sure that they have this new surveillance system that they are supposed to get within a year. And I don't care who funds payment, if it comes out of our tax dollars, if it comes out of these fees or finances, either fees for the licenses to get the hotel rooms or to be able to run a hotel here in Cascade, or the fines that eventually they do get nicked on or whatever. But, there needs to be an overall hotel, I don't know if you want to call it a czar or a director or whatever.
Dictator.
Yeah, sure. Hotel dictator, whatever. But again, there really needs to be one person because I know the deputies, they may not be here in Cascade Township in like 2 years. They could go to a different assignment and then you got to train someone else new to do this whole thing where obviously they still respond for crimes. But again, I know having been in law enforcement, if we charge a city or a municipality, they charge for the deputy, they charge for the mileage, and not the mileage, but the deputy, the benefits, the car, they charge for all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, you may end up paying, for the deputy to do something, $75 for the deputy and the car and everything, where you guys could pay an in-house person $20 an hour to go do something. So that's my only concern is that there needs to be an overall person, someone that is dedicated to this, that doesn't have already lots of numerous other jobs associated with the township. So, and again, it doesn't have to be a full-time person. It could probably be somebody 20, 25 hours a week. That's an easy thing to do, that is in control of this database. So they know what the Red Roof Inn has done and who's talked to them and what rooms, and, you know, and then the Crown Plaza and the Baymont and the Best Western and all the other, you know, 16 buildings, say maybe average 100 rooms. Obviously, some have more, some have less. That's 1,600 rooms minimum, probably more. So it's a big job and a big deal that someone needs to oversee, and you can't have it piecemealed by some of the building people, some of the fire department people, police officers, if it's not overseen by somebody. So, and like I said, I don't care who pays for it. If it comes out of our general fund budget, great. If it comes out of the millage, fine, whatever. If it comes out of these licenses, okay. So either way, it just needs to get done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Max. You can comment now. Sorry, hold on a second.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can now.
Time for me to speak?
You may speak.
Okay, my name is Max Smith. I live on 52nd Street. I bought my land in 1968. I built my house in 1969, and therefore I've been there for about 55 years. Beautiful place. I love Cascade. I love living here, and it's been a great experience, except for, of course, the famous cemetery. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm most disappointed and most upset at a long list of false statements that was made by someone of the township board that questioned my integrity and my motivation and my honesty. It was stated that I was teaming up with, meeting, and working with Vissers to make a huge windfall profit on my property based on its location, which is the statement was a totally 100% false, total fiction. I've never met with Vissers. I've never talked with Vissers. I don't even know Vissers. And I've never had any desire to sell my little mini farm, which sits here on the hill across from the Buffalo. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to sell my home for a number of times. Even with the probable decrease in property value due to the cemetery, I have no desire to sell my property. It was also indicated by the speaker that I didn't care about my neighbors, that I was going to make a huge profit at their expense, and that, of course, is false. You don't make a profit if you don't sell, and I have no intention and never have had intention to sell. I've been approached by a number of people, but I never wanted to sell. In fact, if you remember right, my son Derek said that he would like to live here when I'm gone. The statement was made indicating that I was an opportunist, total false, and I was selling, and I was just a self-serving individual. As it pertains to me, everything that was said is pure fiction and almost slanderous. The only thing she got right was the fact that Derek Smith is my son. I recommend that before you attack somebody, start throwing stones like was thrown at me, that you get a handle of the facts and just don't make it up something to serve your own purpose. That's the end of my statement. And as you can tell, I'm not very happy, not because of the cemetery. Cemetery is incidental, and the cemetery is totally separate from the industrial zoning. I never spoke up. You never hear me speaking up at all about the zoning situation as far as industrial everything. In fact, when I was asked by the head of the planning commission what I thought about the zoning changes, my comment was, at my age, I could care less. End of my comment.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Board member comments.
Always stand up and thank my bosses for being here. Mr. Smith, I hear you also, and thank you for your comments. They're well received on my behalf anyways. Can't solve everybody's problems all the time. I see a lot of familiar faces here. I see some new faces here, and that's good. Bring your neighbors back. I would also like to put out a feeler or questionnaire and see if people would be interested in a year-round type of farmer's market We have quite a chunk of property between us and the next property to the west. And we got a parking lot already here at the library, and farmers markets and craft markets, especially when they're available to be used year round, are very popular. I know Ada is very popular, and I'd like to see a questionnaire put out to the residents to see whether or not, number one, they would use it, and number two, whether they would support it. That's all I have. Thanks for being here.
Additional comments?
Move to adjourn?
I just say real quick, Max Smith, who just called in, those were my comments that he was referring to. And I'm looking, because I know I have it saved, where Max Smith was one of a handful, just several, property owners who signed Visser's petition urging both the planning commission and then another or the same petition submitted to the board for that zoning change. And he also attended the meeting in person with the Visser attorney as well as the Visser developer. So stand by what I said, and I'll leave it at that.
Motion made for adjournment.
Motion.
Shipley makes a motion for adjournment.
Support.
So motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee McDonald to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.